Beware the moon, David.
This is the Horrible Film School. Take a seat, rip open those trapper keepers. My name is Chris Purdy, and I'm here with Mr. Ryan Hootie.
Ooh, Werewolves of London. What's up, boys?
He sounded like a fucking locomotive. He sounded like a train.
And the big bro, Mr. Nasty, the most American in America, my brother Joey.
So turn your back on the wolf pack. You might wind up in a body bag.
Hey, yo. Happy to be here, guys. Let's have a good one. Let's have a good match.
Today's assignment, 1981's An American Werewolf in London. The lesson, beware the moon.
Before we hop into the show, fellas, I've been listening to
People
Werewolf.
said hop into this shit.
I've been listening to Werewolf of London a lot, gearing up for this show.
Just to get hype.
Have you two ever listened to the lyrics of that song?
Fuck no, I ain't never listened to that shit. What is that?
There's a
Just the
line
piano part.
in it that says, "Little old lady got mutilated late last night. Werewolves of London again." I laughed my ass off every time.
Did that song come out before the movie did?
1978. Yes.
Why
it
wasn't
did.
that song in this movie?
There's a lot of speculation why. Some people say that they couldn't afford it, and it's all kind of stuff.
I was reading that too. I was like, that's the song that you assume, like when you announced it, that was going to be your movie. I was like, oh yeah, that fucking song, right? It was 1989. My thoughts were short, my hair was long. So, Mr. Joseph, this was your selection. I will let you have the floor.
All right, let's jump into this thing dick first. Let's go. For our first review here from IMDb, it's a positive review. We got it titled Beware the Moon by C. Trevor 62685. I think that's like a zip code or something. This was submitted in October of 2022. This is, without a doubt, one of the greatest comedy horror movies ever made, as well as being one of the greatest werewolf movies ever made. Excellent acting, creature FX, story, just the right amount of blood and gore and action make this a must-watch for any horror fan. You will never forget the howl. Is it a little campy? In a good way. Is it a little over the top? In the best way. Do yourself a favor and watch this movie. It's far too much fun to miss. You will find yourself going back to it time and time again. Don't listen to the people giving this movie a bad review. They have no taste.
Fuck. Wait a second. This was from October 2022?
Oh, yeah. This was...
and he's gone back again and again. It's been...
Back to
it's
the
been
well,
in 6
baby.
months. 6 months, I've watched it 8 times.
I feel like this is probably a movie this guy watches on October of every year.
He just finally decided to write something up. I got you.
Yeah, he said, fuck it.
Because it's campy in all the right ways.
All the right ways. I like that. Yeah, I feel like this is definitely a movie with a bit of prestige behind it. So I'm not sure who he's targeting with the haterade there, but whoever they are, I'm curious to see what their opinions are.
Yeah, not a lot of, like, overly negative, like, thoughts on the review site I used. But we did find a few. It could have been worse. They could have used sock puppets by Rides Up on Dragons in October of 2005. Got a 1 out of 10 here. What can be said about American Werewolf in London? First of all, the actors cannot do what their name implies. There would be far more emotion if there were cardboard stick figures with speech bubbles. Ugh. The audible ugh, UGH. Normally while I'm watching a movie, I would do play-by-play.
Wait, we're getting into his method here. I need this. I need advice.
Normally while I'm watching a movie, I would do play-by-play commentary.
Is this fucking John Madden who wrote this?
Normally, this annoys others.
Oh, God. I would love to watch a movie with this fucking guy.
This dude is fucking bragging about, like, ruining the movie for everybody. However, while we watched this movie, it was seemingly encouraged. Especially when he turns into a werewolf. Oh my gosh, my head, it hurts so much. I'll rip off my shirt. Yes, that'll stop it from hurting. Wait, it don't work. Maybe if I take off my pants neatly and carefully. Honestly, this movie's plot could not be seen if it were right in front of you. It is non-existent. The film ends abruptly, and it wasn't soon enough. Ugh. I was honestly startled to find out it was not only made into a collector's edition, but it had a sequel. And the special features, wow. Bloopers that aren't funny and don't have an audio. A 15-minute long piece about the actor's hand being cast, which was dreadful yet somehow more interesting than the film itself. Do not rent it. Nothing is worse than torture.
That's a lot going on there.
Look, you think the damn wolf was eviscerating people? They just got fucking eviscerated.
That's when it's play-by-play.
He said, normally this annoys others. That means he's done this on like over 3 times.
He's a motherfucker at the movie theater who faces you while the movie's on. Hey, Joy, you know who that is? God damn it.
Give me the fucking behind the scenes. All right, with that one out of the way, let's get into the people in the upper echelon of the totem pole. Let's talk about the director. A man by the name of John Landis directed The Blues Brothers, Trading Places, Animal House, Twilight, well, a segment of Twilight Zone, the movie. One of my personal favorites, Coming to America. Also is going to be serving as executive producer on the still in development remake of An American Werewolf in London.
I read Mr. Landis considers this film to be his masterpiece. In his early career, he worked as a stuntman specializing, I did not know this was a thing, in specifically horse falls.
God, oh my God, I don't even want to make that joke.
Just knows how to fall off a horse.
The reason I knew this guy, at least I knew his face, was from memories of dancing around the living room to the making of featurette of Thriller by Michael Jackson. Because for me, it's probably the most iconic thing he ever did, at least as far as I'm concerned, is the Michael Jackson Thriller video. Essentially, they bring the whole crew from this to that because MJ is so like enamored with this movie and the transformation stuff specifically, right?
I use that word too, enamored. He had a nice little, I'd say hard on, and then Michael Jackson, like,
it's hard to describe his passion about anything, so let's just stick to enamored.
He very much enjoyed the special effects and makeup in this movie. And, well, the thing is, like, I don't know if you remember that music video, but he actually, I think it was a forward or was it after the video, there was a statement they had to post from Michael himself saying he didn't believe in the occult and supernatural and all that stuff.
Oh, I don't recall that at all.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess he had, like, because he was, like, very enthusiastic about making the music video to begin with, and I think eventually as the process wore on, he had a change of heart, you know.
Started to get afraid of what he was conjuring.
What he was becoming.
But yeah, definitely, like, watching this movie and knowing that after the fact, I was like, this is obviously like a 1-to-1. You could see, like, almost the same type of prosthetic work in action in both pieces.
I think he did a few more music videos with him, too. I'm not sure.
Definitely.
Did he do the one from Free Willy?
Did Michael Jackson do the song for Step by Step?
What the hell, the TV show?
You don't remember that shit?
Step by step,
day by
day
day.
by day.
Was that Michael?
I'm positive that he did not lend his talents to
Oh,
some
shit.
network sitcoms.
Yeah, it's not that song then. It's a different song.
Maybe he did, what was it? Thank you for being a friend.
Travel around
Golden
the
Girls.
world and back
Back
again.
again.
Yep.
If
Your
your
Heart is true. You're a friend and a confidant.
confidant.
Dude, who y'all? You Blanche?
Yeah.
Look at it.
Which one's the slutty one? I like
Dude,
that.
I'm Deborah White. What's her name?
Betty White.
Betty White.
Deborah
Whichever character
White.
Deborah White. Generic white lady name. That's me.
I'm Deborah White. I'm here to open up a checking account.
I always remember the fun fact was the old lady on there was actually the youngest of the group. Thanks,
the one in
Grandma.
the wheelchair? Where the
Always reminded me of that shit.
You know, Chris, she's actually the youngest one. Thanks, Grandma, for the 15th
You know what's
time.
funny about her is
I wonder if
It's
they ever
fucking
did like
hilarious.
a porno mashup with like
Jesus.
Golden Girls and the Three Stooges.
fuck.
I think the Three Stooges. That's a lot.
I think
That'd
they
be
were like
fucking
40 years
wild,
apart.
bro. Yeah, I'm sure, but that'd be wild. But yeah, about that sequel, well, not sequel, I guess, but the remake that's been in development for quite a while. Edgar Wright was actually kind of approached by John Landis to direct it. However, he turned it down, pretty much saying the movie was, in his eyes, perfect. And he couldn't add anything to it, and I guess he didn't want to, that's kind of risking your reputation, right?
Yeah, he's more of an original guy anyway. I don't think he does many
I feel like he would do a good
adaptations.
job, though.
I would say if you took out the transformation, there's a lot that could be fixed in this film.
Yeah, that I don't think that actually came to pass. I think it was just something that was rumored to have happened, or not rumored, but off the. It wasn't official, but looks like John's son Max is going to be the one writing the script with an eye on directing. I don't know this guy from anybody, so.
You said there was a sequel as well?
No, there wasn't no sequel to this movie. This is a one-off.
I heard you say something about a sequel in
Nah,
one
that
of
was
those earlier
something-
comments.
That's something else.
I believe
Oh, okay.
23 years later, there was something that happened.
No.
Oh, okay.
Something
Like a parody, maybe? Is that what it was?
happened.
Yeah, it's just like that
Was it?
scary movie. I don't think you would consider Scary Movie a sequel to fucking
It's
Scream.
a sequel
would
to
you?
Scream, right?
All right, I got another guy I want to talk about, or you guys may want to talk about. It's a guy by the name of Rick Baker.
He was the special effects coordinator for Planet of the Apes, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, The Frighteners, and Michael Jackson's Thriller we already talked about. He was a couple years ago on the Joe Rogan Experience and said that after making The Wolfman in 2010, he realized that he needed to retire after everyone gave their 2 cents on his special effects. It drove him to quit the business.
Shit, didn't he win an Oscar for effects work?
For this film,
Yeah,
yes.
He won 7 fucking Oscars for effects.
I mean, The Wolfman, didn't that not? I remember that being a big
that
deal
was
for
his,
its effects.
Yeah, that was his last Oscar nom and Oscar win.
But people were shitting on it?
Well, he was saying during the interview that he would draw his rough draft, what he thought the Wolfman should look like, and then every producer, every body that worked at the production company would
I
say,
see.
"Let's
Too
change
studio.
This. Let's
I
change
got you.
that.
Too much
Let's change
feedback.
This. Yeah, too much feedback."
Too many cooks in the kitchen, as it were.
Gotcha.
But this wasn't like a one-off. This is like, in his line of work, this is every film he works on.
Apparently, John Landis told him, "I want this kind of werewolf," and that was it. And he went and drew it, and John went, "Perfect," and then they just went ahead with it.
So does his work contribute to what is considered the best makeup Oscar as well?
The year before, there was a big kerfuffle about the Elephant Man not winning any Oscars, and it was pretty much heralded like there's got to be something made to commemorate this movie. So the next year, I think it was the Elephant Man that forced their hand. But yeah, got a few more notes about Rick Baker here. I know Hootie named off a few movies that are pretty great and stand the test of time. Did you mention King Kong?
I did not.
He designed the suit for the 1976's King Kong remake and donned the suit as well. Star Wars 4 and 5, Harry and the Hendersons. I don't know if he said that. And he did the makeup
What a
for Robert
classic.
Downey. Did the makeup for Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
Wow.
He did. He did some pretty great work. Got a cool little fact here about him though. He was working on special effects for The Howling, but left to work with John Landis after a promise I guess he made the guy a long time ago. However, the guy that Rick left behind to continue to work on The Howling was none other than Rob Bottin, who was his protege and soon to be head of special effects makeup on 1982's The Thing. So he goes from The Howling to The Thing. Either one of you guys watched The Howling at all?
Never seen that one, actually.
Never seen it.
I watched it like right after this, just so I can compare the two. The effects work on that shit, you can see where it's kind of the same thing with The Burning and Friday the 13th Part 2.
Is The Howling a better film?
No way, no.
We all know Silver Bullet is, though.
I like this movie from '98. I think it's called American Werewolf in Paris.
He said it. He finally
fucking
got it out
Hold
there.
on. Did he do effects on that, or yeah, I think he does.
God, I
he
hope
does-
not.
He does
it's a CGI
practical
werewolf.
effects. I don't think he does CGI. I did some research on that movie too during this fucking.
Nah, I avoided it. It's because I knew I'd want to talk about it the whole time.
I wanted to hear the behind the scenes of how it ended up getting made the way it did. It was a fucking shit show.
Was it like a rights argument thing? Somebody just pushed it through in a studio setting?
Oh no, it's just they were wanting to appeal to a different sort of audience. Then, because Landis was originally going to do it. He was originally
90s kids, man.
Yeah, John Landis was originally going to do the sequel, like in '91. I think it says like in '91, but he his script, they didn't like it. He was trying to bring back legacy characters and use them, and I guess they weren't down for that. He also worked on Hellboy, Hootie. I don't know if you knew that one.
Did not see that one either.
He was all about that Ron Perlman baby. Because I
The
think
big
he
red
worked,
face.
I think he worked on Beauty and the fucking Beast too, the TV show.
He's Ron
Which
Perlman's
was-
personal beautician.
Was heralded as a great Beauty and the Beast adaptation, that TV show. Lasted 2 seasons.
Oh, because of Ron.
The Beauty was miscast, but we'll move along.
But the Beast was a fucking legend.
But the Beast was a fucking beast.
Cock strong American if I've ever seen one.
Hell yeah. Every UFC intro, I'm like, I gotta listen to Ron talk about some shit for 5 minutes. I love it.
I don't watch the UFC, but you talk about that all the time.
They'll put the intros on YouTube, I bet. Just check them out. It's just him hyping up to every fight, every big pay-per-view fight. It's just fucking awesome.
All right, he also did Gremlins 2. All right, I'm done sucking this guy's dick. We can
Wow,
move
he
on.
did some great films, man.
Yeah, he did a lot of good. I didn't name a bunch of them. Like, he did a lot of good shit. All right, moving on to some interesting factoids, or some additional interesting factoids.
Factoids.
Chris, you want to hop in here?
Kind of broached on some of the things that I thought was most interesting, but I did have a note that every song in the movie has the word moon in the title. Thought that was pretty catchy.
I, again, rented this movie from the public library on Blu-ray.
Holy
Italian.
shit.
They still exist, folks. Walked in, picked it off the shelf,
I
old
think
school.
you fucking get him out of pity now.
I think he
Like,
walked down some dark mountain road with some sheep to find this library, and it was
Got a lantern.
he got bit that night. Give him a couple weeks. We'll see what
Bunch
kind
of fucking bats flying around.
The Blu-ray had like 4 different documentaries attached to it, so I got pretty deep in this film.
Wait, you didn't watch those garbage fucking special features that guy was shitting on?
I watched a pretty good amount of them, and he might have been right about a couple of them. John Landis wrote the screenplay for this film following an incident while shooting Kelly's Heroes in 1970 in the countryside of Yugoslavia. This is bizarre. While driving along a country road with a colleague, Landis encountered a gypsy funeral. The body was being buried in a massively deep grave, feet first, wrapped in garlic, so he would not rise from the dead. Then the only thing I got is to get the movie down to an R rating, Landis had to tone down the sex scene and cut out a part where a piece of toast fell out of Jack's undead throat. He also edited out a scene where the werewolf kills 3 homeless men after the preview audiences freaked out. He later regretted these edits.
You said he had to tone down the sex scene?
It was pretty vivid.
It didn't seem
sex
pretty toned down. What did he have to do? Cut the shot from behind the balls?
From like the comedy aspect of it, it's pretty highfalutin sex scene, don't you think?
Very
We're used to these types of
very
things in
artsy
horror.
Sex scene.
It was very artsy.
But when it's comedic, yeah, you usually don't get this kind of like really close shot of a man's butthole and stuff like that.
Sam Raimi's definitely never had this kind of sex scene in his films.
I haven't seen many buttholes in Sam Raimi's canon, but I'm waiting.
I'll suck your cock, pretty boy.
Yeah, so you get the dialogue, but I don't get to see anybody's butthole.
What a shame.
Got a few things to add to the pile here, guys. The studio that produced An American Werewolf in London craved star power and wanted Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi to play the roles of David and Jake. Landis didn't go for that shit.
Seems like a height difference there of pretty significance.
You know, I don't know why I read this. I think one of them was like 5'10", and the other one's 5'7". How big is Dan Aykroyd?
Oh, Dan Aykroyd always looks like he's like 6'3", 6'4". He looks massive. I guess he's
Dan
not.
Aykroyd, what the fuck are we even talking about? The Ghostbuster?
Yeah, the Ghostbuster. He's tall.
Yeah, the
he's the
Ghostbuster.
tallest
Dude, fucking
Ghostbuster.
The guy who gets shit on in Space Jam?
The dude from Blues Brothers is what we're talking about.
Space Jam? Isn't that Bill Murray?
No, they see Bill Murray. He goes, I didn't know Dan Aykroyd was in this picture.
I'll go back and watch that movie.
Space Jam, motherfucker.
You ever see the second one?
Unfortunately, I did, yes.
Oh, okay. No good, huh? But yeah, not to go back and really harp on Rick Baker, but I'm going to. He's been nominated for 11 Oscars and has won 7. Damn. I don't know if I said that shit
Nice.
earlier, but he's piling them up.
Yeah, I mean, and before you get too far away from him, that's not information that you catch in a lot of horror movies, because
No.
we think about the greats, the guys we look up to, like a Thomas Savini. He's not pulling down fucking Oscars as much as he's pulling down the hearts of fans.
It's a real shame.
It's rare to do this kind of work and actually reach that level of recognition.
Notice for it, yeah. All right, my last note here. The movie begins with dedication to Jim O'Rourke, who passed away from lung cancer shortly before principal photography began on American Werewolf in London. Mr. Rourke and Mr. Landis produced a movie called Schlock together back in '73, and both were really good friends. I think I read a rumor that he forbid people from smoking on on set and stuff.
Landis?
I guess out of respect for his buddy Mr. Rourke. Let's move on to the story beat, shall we, guys?
I need you to sing us into it with a little bit of All Summer Long.
This is a song for the lonely. Can you hear me tonight?
Little lady got mutilated late last night.
Where was it, London, man?
It was a fucking London again.
You sons of bitches.
Have you ever talked to a corpse? It's boring. I'm lonely. Take your life, David. Kill yourself. Before you kill others.
Our tale begins with the journey of 2 American backpackers as they make their way across northern England. With the help of a sheep herder and his sheepmobile, David, played by David Naughton, and Jack, played by Griffin Dunn, find themselves in East Proctor. In need of some rest from the cold and something warm to drink, the 2 head to a happy little pub called the Slaughtered Lamb. Full of pentagrams and wary locals, before too long, the duo wear out their welcome and shamble out into the moonlight. But not before being warned repeatedly to keep clear of the moors, stick to the roads, and beware the moon.
I don't think he could do that.
Let me do the dude first. Keep clear of the moors.
Griffin Dunn he's got like a that guy face. Where would I know him from?
Oh,
I couldn't tell what it was in his
Dude, I don't know what he's in.
You know him as an old man because I watched the special features and it's him like in 2017. And I was like, oh, that guy.
Yeah, I know the face, but I can't tell what he's from.
Oh, so he was in Succession.
So he was in Succession, Dallas Buyers Club, 40 Days, 40 Nights.
He was the doctor
Classic.
in season 1, I think.
He's got a very much that guy face. He resembles the like redneck dude from Alien, the skinny guy, as an old man.
Oh, you're talking about Dallas?
Dallas. There we go.
He looks like somebody who would be in Police Academy.
Definitely that too. Yep.
I thought he was really charismatic. Not to get ahead of myself here, but kind of hoping he'd be the main character throughout this, honestly.
Well, David Naughton was in John Carpenter's Body Bags and Ice Cream Man.
The reason he was cast in this movie is he was actually like the face of Dr. Pepper back in like the late 70s, early 80s.
Oh, he was a spokesman or something?
Well, he was like in their commercials and stuff.
Oh, I got you.
Funny enough, he actually lost that fucking sponsorship after this movie because of his nudity scenes.
Oh, is his dick like too little or not big?
We didn't see his dick, or I guess his ass.
Oh, you definitely do see his dick.
Oh, there was a lot of penis.
Jesus
in there.
Christ, I would look off of that dick.
Who do you watch?
I'm usually all about finding that kind of shit.
I watched the Blu-ray, man. It was crystal clear.
He was climbing around like his butthole was agape when he's climbing over a fence. I was like, fuck.
I got a note I made right here. What the fuck are moors?
It's mountains, son.
Apparently, according to
That's
dictionary.com,
what a Brit's call it.
according to Urban Dictionary here, uncultivated hilly areas, tracts of open upland, a heath.
Lack of reasoning in these films of these two just leave the pub and they start walking down a dark-ass dirt road in a rainstorm, and they're just like, everything's going to be all right. It's going to be all right, guys.
Yeah, I'm about to bring that shit up.
Yes, thinking back to kind of reminded me of Hostel, like these just stupid American tourists who just walk straight into any kind of fucking terrorist.
Did you notice who one of those chess players was?
I did not.
That's Drop Dead motherfucking Fred, bro.
Oh, what the fuck?
The fucking young guy with the crazy hair.
I could see it now.
That's that booger eating, booger wiping motherfucker, bro.
I would say all the voices sounded familiar, but they were British, so it's kind of hard for me to differentiate who was who.
And Brits hate John Wayne, apparently. So, very progressive in that
clowning
regard.
his ass.
The last guy I wanted to talk about in this scene was David Schofield, the guy with the fucking fish face, where his eyes are like right beside his ears and shit. The guy who was playing darts. You made me miss this board. I've never missed this board.
Yeah, he definitely had I was like, I've heard this voice before, but again, it could just me hearing every British person sound exactly the same.
You know what he looked like?
The dude from Gladiator that was his friend?
Yeah, he was from Gladiator. He was in that movie. He wasn't
Fuck
that guy,
me,
though.
man.
Yeah, he was like an aristocrat or some shit in that movie. Also in Pirates of the
Brits,
Caribbean.
man.
He looks like the scene from the X-Men movie where they give the powers to the fucking governor. And
he gets all mushy and shit.
He slips his face through the bar and it's got him eyes going to the side of his fucking head.
You're a fucking asshole.
Oh,
Wait a second, was this guy in From Hell?
Yeah, he was in that.
God,
movie.
that's exactly
pretty much
what I've
any
seen that face.
movie that takes place over in the UK
In London.
or England or whatever. I think he's in it. You know what I mean? So, doing what Americans do best, the pair forged their own path, totally disregarding the Englishmen and their warnings and aimlessly heading across the moors, deserting the roads almost immediately and with reckless abandon. Under the light of a pale full moon, a series of howls pierce the night as David and Jake realize they're being pursued by something. Before long, that something makes itself known, tearing into Jake. Well, why am I calling him Jake? His name's Jack. Tearing
Jake
into
Long,
Jack.
baby.
That's what I'm thinking.
Jake.
I see your blue ass shirt. Tearing into Jack while David throws up deuces and sprints in the opposite direction. Burdened by guilt at the sounds of Jack's screams and pleas for help, David scrambles back to his friend's eviscerated corpse, just as what looks like an enormous wolf knocks him onto his back, ripping into his face and chest. The blast from a shotgun erupts, followed by a thud. A wounded but coherent David looks on at the body of his attacker, illuminated by the moon above, a naked man dead, riddled with buckshot, as he himself slips into unconsciousness from shock and pain.
Why did it take two Americans showing up to this pub for the people who actually live in this town to kill the werewolf?
Guess none of them were willing to go be bait. These stupid fucking Americans just drew it out.
Yeah, the only reason they were even able to get the wolf out in the fucking open and kill it was it almost killed two people already. We think back to the actual pub itself. That pentagram or pentacle on the wall and the candles serve as some sort of protection for the immediate village. So you ain't really got to worry about it bothering you.
Did they just sleep in the bar?
It's not great for tourism, but it's
it's not really set up for tourism.
So I'm not really the only one who was rooting for a swap here in the characters. Let Jack live. Let's fucking make David the corpse.
Jack couldn't pull off the transformation. 3 weeks later, and now in London, David awakes in a hospital where he's informed by Dr. Hirsch, played by John Woodvine, of Jack's demise at the hands of their attacker, a deranged fiend of a man. A couple of Scotland Yard's finest arrive to corroborate the survivor's testimony, only to discover that it conflicts with the statements of the assault's supposed witnesses. David is steadfast in his belief that it was not a man that maimed him and tore his friend to shreds, but that it was, in fact, a wolf. Chalking David's recount of the events that led him there up to severe shock and trauma, the inspectors closed their investigation, leaving the lone survivor to rant and rave to Dr. Hirsch about what truly happened that night. Between bouts of bizarre and feral dreams and equally freakish hallucinations, David strikes up a friendship with his nurse, Alex Pierce, played by Jenny Agutter, as well as rekindling one now past, that of his solidarity with Jack, who now stands before him undead, torn, and mutilated.
I did like the dialogue when he's like laying down in the bed and there's the two nurses talking about him. She says, I think he's a Jew. She said, how do you know that? I've had a look.
It was so fucking good.
Before we get away from Jenny Agutter, I think that's how you pronounce her name, she was in The Avengers and you fellas' favorite franchise, mine not so much, Child's Play 2.
Child's Play 2, baby.
Who is she in Child's Play 2? Oh, she
Andy,
the mom?
Andy and Kyle's adoptive mom. What about that dream sequence where he's like out there prancing and he has to like kill the deer and he's fucking sucking on its haunch?
Like some of those I understand, like you're putting the idea of the transformation into his head, but it definitely changes and gets a little bit more bizarre as we go along.
Was that a dream or I guess it's a dream, but the dude wouldn't eat, so I thought that maybe it wasn't a dream. Like maybe he was eating
like
deer.
a memory or something, a repressed memory.
Yeah.
I don't know. They said it'd been a few weeks since he'd been attacked, right?
Yeah, 3 weeks. That's how it makes sense that it's like a full moon in a few days. But I think the whole dream sequence stuff is just to show you how quickly and severely he's losing his like sanity. Like, you can't tell if it's a dream, if it's a hallucination, if it's his reality.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm just looking too much into it. I don't know.
Did you feel like he was selling his insanity?
I feel like he flipped so much between being normal and being crazy, and there was no real. It didn't really feel like anything was changing. He was just like changing the tempo of his voice and just raising his voice a little bit.
Yeah, it seemed like it was sudden, like we were missing some segues or something.
His shining moment doesn't come till a little bit later. So, but yeah, actually, I think that Nazi werewolf thing did happen in this sequence right here too. Like
it was pretty early on. I was sure of it. Like it was like a shootout. Like I guess he's dreaming about his family back home.
His family was watching the Muppets.
Nazi werewolf demon death squad.
Yeah, they're like slitting people's throat and shooting up like children. I was like, what the fuck?
Where's this fucking movie, bro?
So Rick Baker loves the Nazi werewolf headpieces. He talks about them religiously in the special features. Loves them. Thinks it's like
he wears them during special features.
Thinks it's like his best work. But the shot where the werewolf jumps in the kitchen and blasts Grandma and she fucking flies into the cabinets.
Yeah,
was awesome.
So good, man.
I did read like this is a lot of people I guess had went into this with this is the guy who made the Blues Brothers tagline, and then when they got to this scene, they got up and left. Like, what the fuck are we watching here?
I don't feel like people do that anymore. You never hear people leaving it.
People don't have such like, well, in that aspect, when it comes to violence, people and gore, people don't have that kind of sensibility anymore.
It's interesting.
They have sensibilities elsewhere, but not when it comes to violence and gore, and probably sex for the most part.
Also need to shout out Jack's makeup before we get away from that. It was fantastic. He looked fucking great.
Oh yeah, he looks fucking phenomenal.
I liked how when he was sitting like bedside and he had like during his dialogue there was like this one little piece of like skin flap that just kept dancing on his throat while he was talking. That was great.
So apparently the skin flap was not supposed to be there. It was like a mess up in the makeup, and John Landis goes, "Oh, wait a minute, leave it. I love it. Like, let's keep that flap."
That's definitely how it came across. I was like, this doesn't look intentional, but it kind of adds more believability to it's not going to be a clean fucking destroyed face. There's going to be some jaggedness to it.
Jack informs David that in fact it was a wolf that attacked them that night, but not just any wolf, a werewolf, a lycanthrope, a wolfman, a Bela Lugosi, a Lon Chaney fucking Jr. Even more shocking is that David now carries the mark and will become a werewolf himself before long. Being the good friend corpse that he is, Jack advocates for his friend to do the right thing, to kill himself to spare the innocents that will soon die by his claws and jaws, to sever the bloodline and bring peace to the undead victims forced to walk the earth in limbo due to their unnatural deaths. David, his mind clearly shattering at this hallucination, calls for Nurse Price, who consoles him, offering her apartment as a temporary home for the American. After a brief tour of her place, the two get down to fucking. Nurse Price falls asleep, and for a little post-nut clarity, Jack pays David yet another visit.
So there's a lot that needs to be said here.
Unpack here.
First of all, they apparently, I guess it's in Europe, you say flat, which I thought was pretty cool.
Well, I think you can use them interchangeably, but I looked it up. Like an apartment or a flat is a building that has multiple rooms in it. An apartment is like a standalone apartment. So technically, there's like duplexes and stuff are like flats, I guess.
So you're saying if it's one story, it's a flat.
Like a townhouse? That's a flat?
I guess.
We're so fucking British, man.
Dude, I'm British Bake Off, bro. I'll cook you a
So
cake.
Brit right now. But I did like that Jack kind of outlines the logic of the movie here in one scene. And it's like, all right, this is what it is. And it's kind of just how the movie plays out. There's no more real discovery as to what's going to happen after that.
Oh, there's no like magic fucking formula that you're gonna whip up in the kitchen to save them. There's no, you eat the heart of the surviving vampire or the surviving wolf, and then you become human again.
That's what I was kind of thinking. I was waiting on that shoe to drop, but it's just like, okay, this is what happened. Here's the here's the gun, here's the ticking clock, and then the movie's just doing its thing for the next hour after that.
So I enjoy how Landis has created this werewolf world to where, like you talked about, that it's this chain of the undead world connected to it. But also, apparently, people didn't understand that when the first wolf attacked them and they looked over and it was the naked man with the gunshot wounds, people didn't realize that it was a person before this film. And that was new to the world. I don't know. I feel like the old movies talked about that, but
I think the whole thing about
People
that
were
is
shocked.
like this and The Howling and Wolfen, which came out like the same year, were like some of the first major werewolf movies to come out in years. Like this, like
probably forgot.
This like revitalized that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Also got to shout out Alex's apartment. She has the exact same Casablanca poster that I do.
Ooh.
It's my soulmate, man.
Too bad she talked like this, love.
Too bad it was 1981, mate.
You want us what a tea?
God damn it, you went Australian again.
Fuck. Forsters.
Would you like some biscuits and with your tea?
I like Forsters and kangaroos, mate.
Alex and Dave, Alex, God damn it. Alex informs David that she finds him very attractive and that she's only had 7 lovers in her life. I like that line.
Hey, you know what? I like when a woman's on.
She listed like 3 one-night stands. Like one of them had the biggest dick you'll ever see.
Good laundry list.
Like, I like
And
when a
he
woman's
pulled out
on.
this little Jewish sausage and I'm like, okay.
I already see what you're packing, David, and I like it.
Me and the other nurses were giving it a whack while you were sleeping.
Oh, and we do get a nip shot in that scene as well that we skimmed over. Never.
For as much dude ass as we better get one nip shot.
They were very conservative with the boobies.
I guess it goes back to like them cutting out a lot of stuff. Maybe it was just a bunch of tits.
Yeah, I do wonder what the unedited version of that scene was, because it was pretty.
They're probably damn 69 with him on top.
John's like, we have to have this in the film. John,
That was
we
the
can't have
original
this in the film.
transformation was in mid-69. Everything's stretching.
He's doing a reverse wheelbarrow. His fucking legs and dick is in the air. Jack, who's visibly beginning to rot, once again warns his friend of his impending transformation and implores him to end his life, with David continuing to question his reality and his sanity. Alex, now awake, beckons her spicy American lover, back to bed, where David confesses of his mental state and what Jack has been telling him. Nurse Price brushes the whole thing off as a result of severe trauma and proceeds to make her boy toy howl at the moon. Meanwhile, Dr. Hirsch neglects his doctoral duties to play detective and investigate what really happened up in East Proctor for himself. Snooping around the slaughtered lamb and harassing the locals, the good doctor discovers there may be more truth to David's ramblings than what he previously thought of as pure delusion. Back in London, Alex heads off to work, leaving David to fend for himself. Now all alone in the flat, the young American does what any bored person would do. Watches TV, reads a book, checks the fridge a few times, tries to nap, all to the sweet sounds of CCR's Bad Moon Rising.
Yeah, this dude needed a cell phone. I feel like if this is 2023, he's just digging around on his phone for 3 hours.
I feel like the depiction of boredom in this scene is fucking perfect. Like, they have a scene here where he's pacing back and forth for like 2 minutes. And it's literally one single shot that's 2 minutes long of him just pacing back and forth.
Did no one else pick up on the fact that Nurse Alex had a strange fascination with Disney figurines?
Yeah, there's a lot of Mickey Mouse around the apartment.
It's very strange.
It's what you call a Disney princess. That's why she's only had 7 fucking lovers, bro.
Well, apparently,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it could also kind of be underlying her fascination with America and Americans.
oh, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. Even though, Walt Disney was a Nazi, but
Anyway,
we're moving on.
separate pod for that one.
Did you guys happen to pay attention to Naughty Nina on the fucking telly?
Oh, yeah.
Boy, I want to watch that. They used to watch that shit in the 70s or the 80s.
I thought it was like a parody. That was a real thing.
That was hot. Well, sometimes, my friends, foreshadowing is relatively obvious. Later that night, under the big, beautiful blue orb in the sky, the terror begins, all to the crooning of Sam Cooke.
God, such a good version.
Blue moon. Jack's prophecies have come true. The pain and horror of the werewolf transformation that David endures has to be seen to be fully appreciated. There are not many words I could say that could do justice to what happens here. Now fully anamorphed, where David heads out into the streets of London.
I think for me, what really sells it, the reason this still works, watching it 40 years later. 40, God, that's a long fucking time, 40 years later. But it's the stretching of the flesh. Something about the way that happens is kind of what sells it for me more than anything. It's not about really the end product. It's literally the transformation itself that it just looks fucking incredible. I couldn't really see the seams in this.
It's a really good point to speak on the end product. The end product is basically any other wolf man you've seen. But the stretching and the shot on the face where the mask was able to project out was fascinating on how they accomplished that.
Yeah, it almost looks like a time-lapse photography, but it's not. It's like a magic trick you're watching, really, and you can't really see the seams of how it was done. So it's very impressive. Obviously, this is kind of what this movie is sold on. This is what I heard about, and every time someone's ever mentioned this movie to me, this is the scene they tell you about. Because of this, you should watch this. And lived up to the hype. It was great. It was cool. I mean, we've seen a lot of crazy shit with computers in the last 20 years, but this is a fucking banger.
I want to harp a little bit more on Hootie talking about the masks, or like how the faces expanded. As I said earlier, Rick, the special makeup artist, he started working on The Howling, and he used what was called a changeo mask. The changeo mask is the one that expands, and the jaw and the facial tissue like expands forward, like very K9-esque. But he was using that after he had actually designed it for an American Werewolf in London. In the movie, it took a while to take off because he was, Landis was trying to get up funds to make the movie. So he started to do his work on The Howling who had the same sort of transformation in theirs, using the same exact masks because they were his masks.
Interesting. Did it look good?
Yeah, it looked good. The transformation in The Howling is good. It doesn't hold a candle to this because the budget. I mean, they couldn't afford it. I think if they had the budget, they might be able to pull something off. But I mean, it was still good. But yeah, it didn't hold a candle to this one.
Well, I think when you frame it like that, like literally a magician with a bag of tricks, he's literally carrying his tools from one job to the other and kind of reproducing the same magical effect, which is, I don't know, it's awesome. This is what makes a movie, you know, like all these great stories and things we're into in different forms of media, and this is something you only get when you watch a movie. So, stuff dreams are made of.
I know that specifically in Evil Dead, Sam Raimi used rewind a lot, and Baker did it in this for the hair on the arms. It was shot in reverse, or it was shot and then obviously, you know,
Editing, you reverse the footage, right? Yeah.
It's such a neat trick that it's just effective.
Back at the hospital, Dr. Hirsch warns Nurse Price of what he learned in East Proctor. They call her home to locate and check on David's well-being, but to no avail. Throughout a blood-soaked and horror-filled night, David takes 6 lives. A man and woman headed to a dinner party, 3 Thames Riverside hobos, and a lone father headed home from work by way of the London subway station. The very next morning, the American wakes, naked, in a zoo with no recollection of how he got there or the massacre he was responsible for. After swiping some balloons to cover his balls and a lady's coat to cover his ass, David makes his way back to Alex. The pair soon hop into a taxi bound for Dr. Kirsch's office, only to hear of the murders from the night before. Unable to live with what he's done, David abandons Nurse Price and plots to kill himself. As he's about to do the deed, he spots Jack posted up outside of a sparsely occupied porno theater. Inside, a nearly decomposed Jack is joined by a few surprise guests. The 6 people where David murdered. They all have one thing on their mind: the best way for David to end his life, and with it, end his curse.
A naked American man stole my balloons.
Huh?
The look on his fucking face when he stole that shit, it was like, this might be the birth of Van Helsing. Like, the fucking monster on the floor. Because he looked like he just wanted to destroy this man who nicked his balloon.
I think kind of going back to the attacks there, the escalator shot, I thought was probably some of the best cinematography they had in the whole movie. They kind of did like the stalking wolf going up and just the way it moved, the way it was framed, and they showed so little of the wolf, but you still kind of got the vibe of what was to come. Yeah. That was a nice touch, especially for someone who most people consider a comedic director.
I got a question for that specific shot you're talking about. Top of the escalator. In your version, did you see the werewolf?
For like a second.
Okay. I did as well, and it looked CGI, like it was added years later. But I could be wrong.
No, there's actually a funny blooper about this.
Are you watching a Blu-ray?
I was watching a Blu-ray, yeah. That's why it made me question it.
I wonder it looked fine. It looked like a practical costume to me.
James Cameron go behind him and do some Avatar
That's
shit?
what I'm wondering. Was this like a touch-up?
Wolf riding a dragon or some shit?
Was this a Blu-ray touch-up or some shit, you know?
Yeah, it's gotten so finicky over the years for people fucking with the classics that
there
I
probably is
everything.
a touch-up there because the way the movie came out in the final edition, for a split second, you can see the foot of the actual cast or the actual crewman who's pushing the puppet.
His jeans and shit.
Yeah, you can see his foot for like a split second, so that might be what that is, but it was practical when it was made.
When the doctor returns to the hospital and tells Alex about his findings, like everybody just accepts that there's werewolves now. There's nobody questioning.
Well, no. The way he explained it in a way.
Oh, there we go. Got it. If I could explain it, Chris.
Well, he explained it in a way where he didn't say that he was actually a werewolf. He was like of the mental mindset that he might be a werewolf. Like he in his mind, he was attacked by a werewolf. So at midnight, I'm going to be a werewolf. So he might, harm himself or harm somebody else.
Yeah, I think the way he framed it was like everyone in this community is like susceptible to this group think that there's these people who just go psycho and eat people because they think they're a werewolf. So he might be infected by this and do this, yada, yada, yada. AKA, we got like a psychopath on the loose we got to stop.
Gotcha. Okay.
I thought him waking up, though, butt-ass naked, like, as an actor, and, like, going through that whole scene, like, climbing out of that cage, butt-ass naked, like, doing his own stunt. That was fucking impressive, dude. Because he was in there with legit wolves. Like, those weren't, like, fucking dogs that were done up.
John Landis actively wanted to show my man's dick.
It happened.
He did.
He not purposely showed his dick. He, like, wanted to show his dick. And apparently, where it's established earlier in the movie that he is Jewish, the actual actor isn't circumcised.
Oh, was he hesitant to do it for that reason?
Well, no, it would have been believable. Because if you're Jewish, you're going to be circumcised.
Would have been believable. Watch that fucking werewolf movie, but that wouldn't have been believable.
But yeah, so apparently this was his first day of, or Griffin Dunn's first day on set was them shooting this naked-ass scene, too. I thought that was kind of funny. How you meet your co-stars, just butt-ass naked, watching the man butt-ass naked in a wolf cage. And the zoo opened before they finished filming for the day. They were like pedestrians walking around.
Damn, look at the ass on that one. I thought that baboon had a nice ass. Look at the ass on that one.
But yeah, you did mention the porno scene bit. I thought that was probably my favorite scene in the movie, just the dialogue back and forth there. Like, if when they first got there, I was like, oh, this is kind of corny, but the way it played out was just fucking great.
The way it played out was great. You didn't like David Naughton in this scene?
I mean, yeah, this is the scene where I was like, I came to appreciate his actual contributions for, finally, near the damn end of the movie. This is the best exchange between any characters as far as dialogue is concerned.
I don't think I talked about it during the transformation thing, but the way he reacted in the transformation scene and everything, I thought was fantastic.
It was very good.
I did like it, but I feel like, for me, it just felt like they cut to the scene too quick. Like, he was bored, and then it was night, and then he was instantly fucking transforming. You know?
That's been this whole movie, though.
Yeah, the pacing is kind of awkward.
I don't think it's bad, though. I don't think it's just because it's awkward doesn't make it bad.
It's just jarring, I guess, because it means
it's like even the end of the movie, like this is how this movie's made. Like, the transitions are that's the transitions for this movie, because we see it at the end of the movie how it ends. I mean, it's the same thing.
Very abrupt.
It's consistent. If it wasn't consistent, then I'd have a problem with it.
Two things about the theater. Apparently in Europe, way back in the day, they had cartoon theaters. People would go to the theater and watch cartoons. And over the years, those all turned into nudie theaters. And when he first wrote the script, Landis, he wrote in a cartoon theater, but changed it because of the times. And secondly, Jack gets progressively more deteriorated every time you see it.
At the end, it's not even Griffin Dunn on set. It's just a puppet and him doing voice work. Because he's just like a fucking skeleton at this point. I did like the porno that they showed, too. That legitimately cracked me up.
It's a lot of
when
porno.
she's like fucking a guy, and this big burly guy walks in. She's like, I don't know who you are. He's like, oh, right. And he just leaves.
John Landis actually made that. He made that porno.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, it's great. Did you recognize the cab driver?
Was it the guy from earlier with the darts?
No, they look about the same.
Same
that
fucking voice,
That could be his fucking dad, too.
Same fucking voice.
That's Alan Ford. That's Bricktop from Snatch.
Oh, shit. Same fucking voice, man.
Yeah, that exact same. He looks exactly the same.
Yeah, he kind of
I think he looks younger in fucking...
he had fuller hair.
He looks younger in Snatch than he does this movie. When he's trying to get arrested and get locked up where he won't hurt anybody. Like, all the slanderous shit he says about, like, Englishmen and Englishwomen.
Yeah, he's trying to be, like, as American as possible. Like, what's the most horrific shit I could say to get arrested?
He just fucking Shakespeare is French.
I don't know if it was in your version, but I do know at the end of the movie they have, like, a shout-out to the prince who had just gotten married in England in the real world.
After credits?
And they included that because in that scene, when he's berating the cops, he actually called the prince a homosexual. So
he didn't say that. He said, Prince Charles is a bundle of sticks.
He is a bundle of sticks, or perhaps a cigarette to some folks.
Almost comically, The pain from the last transformation begins again, and his fellow perverts can't help but watch, hoping to catch a glimpse of that sweet wolf nut. Soon enough, they get what they bargained for and more, as David mauls and kills several moviegoers. Police try and bar the exit of the theater, but it fails. The massive wolf breaks through, tearing the head of one of the inspectors from the hospital clean off before fleeing through the crowded streets of Piccadilly Circus. The stampede of panic and carnage that follows is one of the wildest and most chaotic I've ever seen, with cars slamming into one another, their occupants being thrown out and flattened by other motorists, pedestrians being hit and thrown through street-side shops and windows. It's utter pandemonium. Eventually, David runs out of real estate, trapping himself in a dead end surrounded by unarmed policemen. Alex and Dr. Kirsch, having heard of the incident earlier, arrive on the scene just as rifle-toting special police units approach the cornered beast.
The shots of the werewolf hold up, surprisingly.
Yeah, moving around in the city or the streets.
Yeah, that was awesome to watch.
Yeah, the chaos going on around him was like comical to the point of it being so fucking destructive. It was kind of cracking me up.
It's literally like the fucking motorists are killing each other more than the wolf is killing people.
It was like,
The wolf's
God,
just trying to
dude.
get the fuck away.
It was like a fucking Jackie Chan movie on steroids. Like
The wolf's just trying not to get hit by a car.
all these stunts and shit, people rolling over cars and like getting squished and fucking heads flying off. And I did like the porno transformation. Everyone thought he was coming. And I was like,
Oh,
this
dude, he's
is
sitting and the
great.
fucking dude started staring at him and shit. Goddamn dick.
So they
He's
thought
like,
he
you
was
gotta get away, I'm about to fucking die.
That cracked me up too. It's just weird, man, watching a movie like this and legitimately laughing at something like this.
That dude was standing
good
so
experience.
close
Oh,
to
he's
him.
so fucking close. He's looking right down. And shit.
Close.
It's gonna come.
I'm gonna see when you make cream.
And I wrote right here, cops need guns. Yeah? Question mark. Like this is that something that just needs to be?
They have more honor and courage and all that shit over there.
20 people fucking died in 10 seconds with the cops on the scene.
Wasn't there a SWAT car at some point?
They had to,
Oh
like,
yeah,
call
they
in
had
the
special
military,
forces.
basically.
Yeah, special forces on the way. Alex pleads with David, professing her love for him as he snarls and lunges forward, followed by several gunshots. The crowd looks on as Nurse Price bursts into tears, and the lifeless human body of David sprawls before them. So ends An American Werewolf in London.
With yet another Blue Moon version. Doo-wop version.
Man, made me want a blue moon. Put a little bit of a orange slice in that bad boy.
What sicko.
That downer ending, man, that was kind of shocking.
It just cut like it just literally ends. It shows his body riddled with bullet holes. Boom, credits.
Because like we were saying earlier, I was kind of expecting that shoe to drop for it to be like True Love's Kiss or some shit. You know
what,
do
Hoodie?
something.
You know what this is?
But no.
What's that?
This is more of the Mist. Right
Oh,
here.
yes.
He's up here complaining like it's the fucking Mist again.
No, I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining.
He's going to start about children again.
Because this movie telegraphed it and it went through with it. I just didn't think anybody had the balls to being a comedy. So I appreciate it. The Mist had no fucking planning.
You don't think that The Mist is a comedy, Chris? You sack
It's a
of fucking matchsticks.
It's a dramedy, bro.
I guess it all depends on perspective. Like people say, anything's a dildo if you're brave enough. So
Yeah,
any movie's a comedy from the right
what a
perspective.
saying that is. Put that in your Christmas card.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
But I did like the ending. It was just so fucking abrupt, you know.
I guess it's kind of open-ended. We can't confirm whether or not they use silver bullets, so he might still be alive. Who knows?
This is very true.
All right, fellas. Looks like that wraps her up. What kind of memorabilia we want to bring home from this bad boy? This howling masterpiece from Mr. Landis.
Fuck, I want that werewolf prop. But I guess that's like a cop-out.
It's cheating.
Yeah,
Too meta.
Instead, just give me one of those custodian helmets. All the English coppers wear instead. Make it an extra large.
This movie surprisingly had a lot of cool shit in it. I apparently people really like the puffer jackets at the beginning, the red and the green ones.
The red, yeah. The color stood out to me.
They kept those.
People,
the actors actually kept those.
Love those jackets.
They liked them too. Shit, fuck it.
Yeah, apparently.
$200 on North Face.
But I hate to keep harping on the damn Blu-ray special features, but every time you see Rick Baker, the mask of this werewolf is behind him in like a glass case, and I want that damn mask.
You talking about the Nazi werewolf masks?
No, this is just the actual werewolf.
That's fucking cheating, I think. God damn it!
I don't think
That's cheating, Hootie.
he has
That
it
would take
behind
the
his
same thing.
fucking head.
That's about the movie.
Who
That's
watches
not
the
in the
special
movie.
features?
I watch a lot of them apparently.
I think that's cheating, but we'll let it slide.
Well, give me the red puffer jacket then.
No, that's lame. Take the wolf.
I thought the coolest bit of imagery and what I remember probably best about it is going to be that slaughtered lamb signage. It was just a really cool
Fuck, all
fucking
right, I didn't even think
sign.
about that. That's fucking cool.
That is
Let
cool.
me get that bad boy. I'm hanging it right out
God
the
damn
window
it, I
here.
feel stupid. I got a fucking hat.
We're
You
so
are
fucking
fucking
stupid,
stupid.
Joey.
At least I can put soup in it.
That's
We
true.
gonna eat soup off a goddamn plaque.
Motherfucker eating SpaghettiOs.
Where you go? It's funny. I got some ravioli like right over here, and it's calling my name.
Fucking disgusting.
Like crack that can open, baby.
It's the stuffed version. It's got double the beef.
Is it overstuffed?
It's double
Overstuffed.
the processed meat or meat byproduct.
All right, boys, get the grade books out. Let's drop some letter grades for Mr. Landis for his masterpiece, according to himself, from 1981, An American Werewolf in London.
1981's An American Werewolf in London was a blind spot for me until this show. After watching it for the first time, I'm not sure why it took me so long to get to this film. I feel like I've watched Silver Bullet at least 50 times in comparison. From the direction Landis took with the script and the groundbreaking special effects from Rick Baker, the film is a time capsule of cinema brilliance. People who don't normally know anything about horror films know about American Werewolf in London, which is impressive considering this is a standalone film, because we don't recognize what happened later on. However, the acting and the pacing of this film are not great at times. With that being said, I'm giving this a B+.
For me, this is a movie that's been on the back burner for a long time. I guess the idea of 80s horror comedy does not really cover the usual items on my shopping list. The tone of the movie is unique, and having spent my teenage years rewatching the pseudo-sequel, I can see the seeds for the subgenre here. Whenever we discuss horror movies, I think the most common question we ask is this a horror movie? For a good bit of the runtime, I was kind of wondering the same here. Until those sweet, sweet effects kick in. This becomes exactly what it was meant to be: fierce, goofy, and weird. The legendary transformation passes the eye test and gets a hearty thumbs up from me. Overall, this is a solid showing from Mr. Landis and a howling B+ from myself.
That's gonna make it a three-peat. This is such a good movie. Sometimes with these older films that I don't recall seeing in my youth, they just don't click with me until I've watched them 2-3 times. That's not the case with American Werewolf in London, a movie heralded as the birth of true horror comedy. So reasons to come. The soundtrack is great, awesome cinematography. David and Jack have really great chemistry, even more than he and the nurse. The comedy is good, but not overpowering, and the horror is sharp and vicious. Everything about the movie holds up after 40 years, but the reason to stay, the transformation scene. It's amazing. The acting, the effects, the sounds, there's nothing that rivals it. You watch in terror as this guy's entire body deforms and breaks, stretches and tears, and you feel pity for what will soon be a cold-blooded killer. I actually watched The Howling, as I talked about earlier, right after, because I've heard the transformation scenes in it are considered comparable by some. There is no comparison. An American Werewolf in London is in a league of their own, both in terms of its werewolf makeup and in terms of werewolf horror movies in general. An American Werewolf in London grades out at an A.
All right, so Joey was the host. This was his choice. He was not able to take a stab at that guess on Rotten Tomatoes, but myself and Mr. Hootie were. I went with an 80. Ryan Hootie did an 82. The actual audience score was an 85. So we were both pretty damn close. But
Ooh, let the dogs out.
gonna bow out to the top dog, Mr. Ryan Hootie. You have the honor of what will be our 50th episode. So
50!
big boy pants for you to shoot a big wad if that's what you're gonna do.
The big 5-0, fellas.
Halfway to 100, man. That's fucking nuts.
That is pretty impressive. The half-century mark will be met with a movie that I've brought up several times, which I know is a blind spot for at least one of us on the show. And that is a movie that is turning 40 this year.
Mac and Me.
Mac and Me, I'm not sure what that is.
Oh,
Blind spot
shit.
for
You
me.
were watching Mac and Me, Brett?
We're going to be watching Sleepaway Camp, 1983.
This is a blind spot for myself.
Deserves the 50th mark.
All right, I got the trailer pulled up on YouTube. You folks want to play along? Let's watch the official trailer for 1983's Sleepaway Camp.
It's only a minute 14.
Shout Factory TV, changing the channel.
That was weird.
What the fuck kind of commercial is it? Okay.
Dear Mom and Dad.
Dear Mom and Dad, I've been at a sleepaway camp
She sounds
for
afraid.
almost 3
3 weeks, a long time.
And I'm getting very scared.
Welcome to Sleepaway
Fucking
Camp.
Vincent Price? Who is that?
Someone
Look at
is
him, Stone
watching
Cold
you.
Killer.
Fucking Corey Feldman?
Someone is waiting.
I want to go to camp.
Damn, better to
That
shit
shit his
themselves.
pants. What the fuck?
That girl man got fucked
wants
up.
to scare you to
Look
death.
at her.
That like Millie Joe Brown, Bobby Brown. What's her name?
What the? This acting is fucking god awful.
It's pretty. The main girl is at almost every horror god
Won't be coming home.
or
You
woman now.
won't be coming home.
Look at that.
Like
Blu-ray.
that damn
It's
guys.
like
Blu-ray
Millie
cover.
Joe Bobby Brown.
Gotta go to the library. Fucking Blu-ray.
Fuck, we out here. We got Blu-ray.
They already know what you want before you even get there.
All right, Joy, it's between you and I, since this is
Oh.
Mr. Hootie's choice. Where do you think this bad boy sits on the Rotten Tomato
This is
user
so exciting.
review scale?
This is supposed to be like, I think this is supposed to be like something people like. I'm gonna go 55.
I'm going to make it a smooth 40. Alrighty, folks, thank you for listening. Check out the website, horrorfilmschool.com, to find links to all the podcast platforms and socials. Give us a follow, leave a review, send us some hot tea. I'm going to say goodbye and offer my support to British women madly in love with hairy American boys.
If you're hearing our voices, tell at least one person you know. Spread the love. Spread the campaign. Tell all of your Sleepaway Camp fans out there, we know where you are, that the next episode, the Big 5-0, we're covering it. And with that, I'm going to my local library, and I'm out.
I'm headed to Ryan's local library to go ahead and check it out before he gets there. Yeah, thanks for all the likes, the listens, the downloads, all that good stuff. Thank you for your time and your attention as well. Be sure to join us next time when we cover 1983's Sleepaway Camp. Class dismissed.